it wasn't 24 hours for every single person to evacuate. There might have been some attacks that happened maybe before 24 hours, but again, none of that is a violation of international law. They have a right to strike back if they're at war with Hamas. They have that right to do it. When Israel is providing advance notice, it's to minimize civilian casualties, not to reduce them to zero. There might still be military targets in the south. They might conduct operations in the north before every civilian is evacuated. All they're required to do is give about as much notice as they feel is reasonable, and then from there, they're allowed to begin fighting. Like, that's how wars go. And again, I think to reiterate, nobody has given the level of preparation for civilian targets. Russia doesn't. Even the United States doesn't. Ukraine doesn't. Literally nobody gives this level of notice to targets and areas before they begin conducting warfare. Nobody on the planet.
Again, where we disagree is on two things. One, I disagree with the amount of notice that you're saying they're giving. And second, even when the notice is given, I'm saying those areas are struck. People's cars and buildings were struck going south when they were told to go from the north to the south.
There's nothing illegal about any of that. The idea is, listen, the most active areas are going to be in the north. You need to go south if you want to be somewhat safer, because Hamas doesn't protect the civilian populations. That's the warning Israel gives. That doesn't mean that
you can't say they got notice. Then you can't say they got notice. If I say go down Main Street, I say, look, we're going to start bombing here. So everybody take Main Street and take Main Street until you get to the other part of town so that you can be safe. And then I start bombing Main Street. I can't then say, well, I gave you warning, but it's war. So, I can't promise you Main Street won't get bombed.
That's exactly what you could do. Yeah. If you say, listen, I'm going to bomb the north part of the city, go to the south part of the city if you want to be safer, and some people get bombed on the way to the south part of the city, that's part of the military operation. Now, the idea is the north part is going to...
You can't say you gave notice. You can't say
you only have to give notice with what's reasonable. It's literally written into the Geneva Conventions for whatever reason, unless other circumstances... I mean, who deems that unreasonable? Again, I ask you, does anybody else give this level of notice? The answer is no. Nobody else does. So we're holding Israel to an impossible notice standard here that nobody else is required.
First of all, most nations when these types of bombings are happening are not asking large chunks, in this case, sometimes half of the entire population of the territory.
Say that people are moving south and there are combatants that are moving among those people. Are those combatants now free from being targeted by the Israeli military?
So that's a good question, right? The short and simple answer would be, from a legal perspective, no. I don't disagree with that, right?
Okay, that's the whole point, right?
But there's a more complicated